Hi, welcome to Tarot for Basic Witches. Today we are going to go through the Major Arcana. That is the 22 main cards of the tarot that illustrate the Fool's journey, essentially the total beginner to the enlightened one. We're going to go through the upright, the reverse, and the astrology, as well as the takeaway message of every card. If this helps you, I encourage you to use my link to buy me a coffee, because how else am I supposed to keep my third eye open? Okay, so the first card, as we discussed, is the Fool. So the upright meaning of the Fool is new beginnings, innocence, and blind faith. Essentially, leap and then a net will appear. The Fool leaps before they look, guided by curiosity and trust. Magic happens when you move without overthinking. The reverse meaning of the card is fear of the unknown, reckless choices, or repeating old patterns. You're hesitating or jumping without purpose. The tip is check your gut before you leap. The astrology is the number 0, which is pure potential, infinite possibility, linked to the planet Uranus, which represents freedom and awakening. The takeaway is trust the journey, not the map. And remember, this is just the beginning. Okay, the second card is the Magician. So upright, the Magician represents focus and resourcefulness. You have all the tools, now direct your energy with intention. The reversed represents scattered energy or manipulation. You're talking about it instead of doing it, or trying to control the outcomes. So the astrology and the numerology is the number 1, which represents individuality and action, ruled by the planet Mercury, which represents communication and skill. The takeaway for this card is energy flows where attention goes. And just remember, you might not know it, but you have all the tools that you need, even if you don't know how to use them yet. But don't worry, life will teach you. The third card we have is the High Priestess. So the upright is intuition, mystery, and hidden knowledge. Listen within, your answers are already there. Reversed means ignoring intuition, self-doubt, or secrets revealed. You're overanalyzing what you already feel. The astrology or numerology is the number 2, which represents duality, balance, and partnership, ruled by the moon, which is the keeper of the inner truth. The takeaway is silence is in her language. Learn to listen to it. Learn to listen to your intuition. The next card we have is the Empress. Upright, it represents fertility and abundance and creation. Nurture your ideas like a garden. Pleasure and patience make things grow. Reversed represents creative blocks, burnout, or neglecting self-care. You can't pour from an empty chalice. The astrology or numerology is the number 3, which represents expansion and expression, ruled by Venus, the planet of love and beauty. The takeaway is receive as openly as you give, and remember to nourish yourself along your path. The next card we have is the Emperor. Upright, it represents structure, authority, and discipline. The Emperor builds the container that makes freedom sustainable. Reverse represents rigidity, power struggles, or avoidance of responsibility, which means too many rules or none at all. The astrology is the number 4, which represents stability and foundation, linked to Aries and ruled by Mars. The takeaway is true power protects, not dominates. The next card we have is the Hierophant. The upright meaning is tradition, mentorship, and spiritual wisdom. Learn the rules before you break them. The reverse meaning, rebellion, dogma, or rejecting outdated systems. Spirituality doesn't need permission. The astrology and numerology. The number 5 represents change and adaptation, connected to Taurus, which is grounded and wise. Takeaway is be your own teacher and your own student. The next card we have is the Lovers. This represents union, harmony, and choices aligned with your values. Partnership mirrors your self-relationship. The reverse card represents disharmony, temptation, or misaligned decisions. Don't confuse desire with direction. The astrology is the number 6, which represents balance and reciprocity, ruled by Gemini, the sign of duality and communication. The takeaway is love is a mirror. Choose with integrity. The next card we have is the Chariot. Upright represents willpower, focus, and victory. Opposing forces becomes allies when your purpose is clear. Reverse represents losing control, scattered goals, or forcing the wrong path. Slow down before you spin out. The astrology and numerology is the number 7, which is mastery and motion, ruled by Cancer, the emotional warrior. The takeaway, drive with direction, not ego. The next card we have is the Strength card. Upright, it represents courage, compassion, and patience. True strength is calm and kind. The reverse meaning is self-doubt or frustration. Don't mistake gentleness for weakness. The astrology is the number 8, which represents resilience, confidence, and also abundance. Associated with Leo, the heart-centered fire. The takeaway is tame the beast by loving it. And sometimes strength is gentle. The next card we have is the Hermit. Upright is introspection, solitude, and inner guidance. Wisdom glows brightest in quiet spaces. The reverse represents isolation, avoidance, or ignoring your own advice. Reflection isn't withdrawal. The astrology and numerology is the number 9. Enlightenment and endings linked to Virgo, the healer. The takeaway, the light you seek is the one you carry. Also, it often represents like the need to rest, take rest and respite, okay, and recover. So the next we have the Wheel of Fortune. So upright, it represents change, destiny, and the cycles of fate. What goes up must come down and up again. Reversed is resistance to change or staying stuck in old patterns. Fate favors the flexible. Astrology and numerology is number 10, which represents endings and new beginnings, ruled by Jupiter, planet of luck. The takeaway is spin the wheel, don't fight it. And as with life, there is always peaks and dips, okay? So remember, just like I said, what goes down must come up and vice versa. The next card we have is Justice. So justice represents truth, fairness, and cause and effect. Choices have consequences. Act with integrity. The reversed is avoidance or dishonesty. You can't rewrite the story until you face the facts. The astrology is the number 11, which is a master number, which represents balance and accountability, ruled by Libra, the sign of discernment. The takeaway is integrity is the real justice. Also, trust justice, and it doesn't always have to come from your own hand. Okay, so the next card is the Hangman. Upright represents surrender, perspective, and release. Sometimes progress looks like stillness. Reversed is stagnation or martyrdom. You're holding on when it's time to let go. The astrology or numerology is the number 12. 1 + 2 = 3, which is creativity through surrender, as well as communication, ruled by Neptune, the dream realm. The takeaway is let go to level up. The next card is the Death card. So this represents transformation and renewal. Something must end so something true can begin. Reversed represents resistance to change or fear of loss. The harder you hold on, the heavier it gets. The astrology is the number 13, which equals the number 4, which is structure through transition, ruled by the planet Scorpio, the reborn. The takeaway is that death is evolution in disguise. Next up, we have Temperance. So the upright is balance, patience, and divine timing. Blend opposites until they harmonize. The reversed represents excess, impatience, or overcorrection. Healing happens through flow, not through control. The astrology or numerology is the number 14, growth through balance, ruled by Sagittarius, the seeker of truth. The takeaway is alchemy is a slow art. Give it time. The Devil. Upright represents temptation, attachment, and illusion. The devil is the part of you that trades freedom for comfort. Reversed. Releasing fear and breaking chains. Awareness equals liberation. The astrology or numerology is the number 15, choice and consequence, ruled by Capricorn, the master of shadow work. The takeaway is you're only trapped if you believe you are. That's how much your perspective matters. The Tower. Upright represents upheaval, revelation, and awakening. The Tower destroys illusion so truth can rebuild. The reverse is fear of change or delayed disaster. Let what's false collapse before it collapses you. So the number is number 16, which represents divine realignment, ruled by Mars, the planet of action and truth, which is Aries. The takeaway is chaos sometimes clears the path. Next up, we have the star card. So upright, it represents hope, inspiration, and faith. After the storm, the star says, you're still guided. It also represents healing. The reversed, doubt, disconnection, or losing sight of purpose. Refill your well. So the astrology and numerology is the number 17, strength through renewal, ruled by Aquarius, the visionary. The takeaway is just shine anyway. The moon, the upright, represents intuition, illusion, and the subconscious. The moon blurs what's real so you can feel what's true. Reversed, clarity emerging or confusion deepening. Trust the process of revelation. The astrology and numerology is the number 18, which equals 9, which represents the end of inner cycles and mystery, ruled by Pisces, the planet of dreamers and depths. The takeaway is feel it first, and then understanding will follow. Next, we have the sun card. So upright, it represents joy, vitality, and success. The sun reminds you you are safe to shine. Reversed, doubt or burnout, the light is never left. The light never left. It's just behind a cloud. So the astrology is the number 19, which boils down to the number 1, which represents rebirth and renewal, ruled by the sun itself. So the message for this card is happiness is your birthright and trust that it's coming. The next card we have is Judgment. So upright represents awakening, purpose, and forgiveness. You're being called higher. Answer it. The reverse represents self-doubt or avoidance. You hear the call but pretend it's static. The astrology is the number 20, which is the number 2, ruled by Pluto, the planet of resurrection. The takeaway is to answer the call. And last, the final card in the tarot, we have the World. So the upright meaning is completion, fulfillment, and integration. You've leveled up, own it. The reverse represents delays or unfinished lessons. The story ends when you let it. The astrology is the number 21, which represents creative rebirth, ruled by Saturn, the teacher of mastery. So this is a call to celebrate before your next beginning. And congrats, you made it through the tarot. So that is the Major Arcana, the 22 archetypes, one legendary spiritual glow up. From the Fool's Leap to the world's completion, these cards tell your story, every risk, every heartbreak, and every rebirth. They usually represent the major life events that somebody has. So if you love this breakdown, hit replay, pull a card, and see where you are on your own Fool's journey. And forgive me. And if this helped you find a little magic, you can always buy me a coffee. Think of it as a modern day offering to the tarot gods. Until next time, trust your intuition, shuffle with intention, and remember, you're living your own Major Arcana every single day. And by the way, my name is Ariel and my channel is the Soft Life Oracle. I hope to see you around.